Welcome back to another episode of Boss Talk. I'm Satyam, founder of Script and host for this episode of Boss Talk. And we have a special guest today, Chitkala Mulye. Thank you so much for being here with us. She's an engineer, an author, a relationship coach, and we're going to talk about relationships for life. In the race of our life, we neglect one of the most important area of our life, which is relationships. And through this episode, I would like you to know how important the relationships are in your life. So let's start. Thank you so much, Chitkala, for being here in this show with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Tell me about you.
Doing great, Chitkala. So my audience and even I want to know about your journey, where you started from, how you become a relationship coach, and what else going throughout your life.
Okay, sure. So, well, though I'm a relationship coach, I hold my degree in something else. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have done MBA in HR. I've worked
Oh,
in chemicals and materials domain and market research for almost 3 years. And after that, I left my job. And I'm also a screenplay writer for a short film screened at Cannes Film Festival, France. After
wow.
that, I realized that my calling is something else. Enough of that 9 to 5 thing. I have to leave it. And I started my venture during my maternity break when I decided to get pregnant. And I wrote my first book that time, which is a fiction novel, Beyond a Love Story, a story of a gay boy and a straight girl that talks about a family system based on companionship and not sexuality. So
Okay.
that was my first novel. Then I started coaching. To start with, I was a life relationship coach. And then I started sexuality and intimacy coaching also.
Okay.
And then I have recently written my second book, which is a poetry
Mhm.
book. And it's about my journey from being a romantic, naive girl turning into a very strong and sensitive lady. So, yeah, I have bit a diverse profile. And all of these things are very much interconnected. And that is
True.
what has made me a better relationship coach today.
True. And that's great. People will get to know a lot of things out of your experience as well. Uh, all right. So for my audience, why we are doing this talk on relationship, first of all, because we all know that there are three areas of our life where our life revolves around. Like number one is your career and business, your health, and third is your relationship.
Absolutely.
Now the problem here is everyone is aware about that they have to grow in their career ladder. Everyone is aware of they have to put efforts to build their businesses. Everyone, or maybe half of the people, half of the population, aware about that how important is your health, and you have to put in effort to maintain your health, right? But
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people are aware about that, they are putting in efforts to make and build their relationships, right?
Yeah, that's really a
So
major problem.
what do you think, if we compare relationship with health, career, business, how important this sector is?
All of these things are very much interlinked and interdependent. To start
Mhm.
off, as a child, we are dependent on our parents. Unless and until we have a healthy environment at home, how can we grow in our careers? When we get married, we need support of our partners if we are ambitious. So their relationships come into the picture. But when we talk about relationships, if we aren't having a good state of mind and body, how are we going to build better relationships? Because physical and mental health affects our behaviors. So all these things are very important at their own places. Nothing can be considered as lesser. Our career is also very important because that adds to our self-esteem, and a person with a high self-esteem also performs better in relationships. So a balance of all these three cornerstones of life is essential for a holistic success.
Right. Because even if you're not working on your relationship, you can't work better on your other two sectors as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now there is a trending word, is self love. What
Yeah.
do you think that what exactly self love is, number one, and how it is impacting our relationships positively or negatively?
Self-love, this buzzword is very, very common and people are using it as per their own perspectives. But today I would like to present a very important perspective of self-love that is very crucial in our lives. Many people think that it will make us very selfish, but that's not so.
Yeah.
Just imagine a mother eating nutritious food before breastfeeding her baby. Or just
Hmm.
imagine a philanthropist trying to do charity. If that person doesn't have money, how is he going to do charity? Or if a mother
Right.
is well fed, how is she going to get nutritious milk? So, investing in ourselves so that we can be more useful to others, be helpful to others, contribute more towards relationships comes, but with our relationship with ourselves. Once we start building that, everything else follows. So, one perspective of self love is self growth. People think self love is just self care, that is, give time to yourself, go to salons, do take massages, dress up well.
Pamper
That's
yourself.
a small part of self love. You can say a
Right.
2% part of self love, a 1% part of self love. But I propose self love in a bit different way. I divide it on 4 levels. Number one, our physiological needs, that is, food, sleep, and sexual needs and bodily needs like
Right.
exercise. Then emotional self-love is about emotional resilience, that is emotional flexibility, emotional independence, and emotional strength. That is also about loving yourself emotionally, being emotionally self-sufficient. Third factor that I talk about is peace, emotional peace for growth. So once a person is in a state of mental peace and mental well-being, then the person starts investing efforts in self-growth. So we become more growth-oriented. We try to take efforts by raising our self-esteem, then that improves our performance in different areas of our life, and it goes on
Right.
and on. And then the last but the most important part is spiritual self-love, that is finding the purpose of life. People say
Yeah.
that, oh, yes, I'm feeling very depressed. Let's do something to make myself busy. Keeping yourself busy is not going to give you happiness, but finding something meaningful that probably helps you let the time fly is
Hmm.
going to be your purpose of life, that adds meaning to your existence, the meaning to your soul. So these were the 4 dimensions of self love that I always talk
Wow. Like, uh, I was aware about self love is like self pampering and all those things. This is other, and like you have taken it to another level.
about. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. If one wants to maintain a good, beautiful relationship with the family, with a spouse, with everyone, what are the challenges one would face in doing so?
Okay. So, my coaching is based on a very fundamental thing that comes up here: imperfections. Nothing in this world is perfect. None of
Right.
us is perfect. Just like we have health issues, we have mental health issues, sometimes we have personality issues, so many problems. We all are imperfect. So, when two imperfect people they come together, it's very likely that the relationships are going to become imperfect
Hmm.
unless you work on them.
Right.
So imperfections are going to be a part and parcel of individuals as well as relationships as well as life. And when these things scale up, it's quite obvious that we'll have all problems in relationships. But the attitude that we must have here is to accept these imperfections and see how we can learn from each other and then grow and then take our relationships to the next level. So whether it's spouse or family members, we need to accept things as it is. For example, people believe that, oh yes, parents are gods. They, how can they have ego? How can they have behavioral problems? But that's not
Right.
so. They're human beings. They're not going to
True.
love you like gods. The word unconditional love itself is I would say unrealistic. Yes, there are people who love unconditionally. However, that comes over a period of time. It comes with work. Today, if you ask me about my own relationships, I will say that they are on, I mean, I'll just score 4 and 5 on almost all fronts. But but it has come with hard work, it has come with effort. So we can reach to that stage, but these imperfections are always going to affect.
True. So definitely you can make a beautiful relationship by working on it.
Absolutely.
But again, when there is a relationship, there must be a disagreement at some point of time, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's life. It's not a movie that it's a
Yeah.
perfect love, perfect relationship, right? There must be a conflict, there must be disagreements. How one can navigate through it if come across some disagreement with any one of the relationship around.
Okay, there are two ways I talk about conflict navigation.
Mm-hmm.
One is communication, second thing
Okay.
about perspective. So, first thing, let me talk about communication. When we have any issue with anybody around, the same can be conveyed in a very, very positive way. For example, rather than telling your spouse what kind of person you are, you keep on nagging me all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you can just say, I would be more happier if you give me a bit of more freedom and space so that I can come and match your expectations. For
Got it.
example, if you're talking to our child, oh, what misbehavior is this? Can't you just listen to me or something like that? You can tell the child that why don't you do something creative rather than running here and there and doing a lot of musty.
Right.
So there are ways in which we can communicate the problems that we have so the conflicts don't escalate. Our ideal way to navigate through conflicts is avoid escalating things and make them ugly. So if we do it at the primary level, maximum conflicts can be avoided. Second important thing is distance. With any two people, there's one optimum distance at which the relationship stay perfect. May it be a parents or may it be a spouse, depending upon the personality compatibility. Suppose there's so many similarities in between me and my partner. Maybe we can spend 4 hours a day, amazing, awesome, just perfect. But if we spend more time than 4 hours, then probably we might have some complaints about each other. So rather than going in that disagreement zone, it is better to stop at a point where you know, okay, all right, things are going perfect. Stop there. Don't start controlling others, don't start suggesting others, give free advices, things like that. So you maintain your boundaries, you make other people maintain boundaries. And third important thing that helps in conflict resolution is allowing people to express and accepting things, not taking it to your ego. Fine, you have this problem with me, I will see how we can solve it. Problem solving orientation is very important. Rather than saying this is wrong, that is wrong, try to go midway, try to accept things. Fine, I may not be able to do this, but at least I respect your feelings. So this mutual respect is needed, this problem solving attitude is needed, and the blame games should be avoided.
Wow, perfect. So it's like you have to be aware about there is a conflict, accept it, and then work on it by using all the three techniques you have already mentioned. Okay, Chitkala. And
Yeah.
now I just want to know how important is intimacy between a couple and how it is important with other relationships.
Yeah, that's an important topic we all must speak about
Yes.
because, especially in Indian context, nobody takes cognizance of it. When
True.
people become parents, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh, now everything is over. So that's not the case. They should understand that for a husband and wife to be a team as parents, it's important that their bonds on all the 4 levels that we talked about with respect to self love, physiological, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, must be intact.
Okay.
So, the things that apply to ourselves, the same thing will apply to our couples also.
Mm-hmm.
If parents start spending more time with each other, if their sex lives are intact, automatically their relationships become healthier, their fights reduce, because it's very natural. When you lack intimacy, people will get irritated, they will pick up fights, and small things are going to irritate them. So just to avoid all these things, if your intimacy with your partner on multiple levels, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, it's intact, automatically Children see happy parents. When they see happy parents, children's mental health is maintained. And then it leads to a happy family. Also, if the husband and wife keep fighting, how are other family members going to have a healthy, stable family? Even if in laws are staying,
True.
people prioritize everything else over intimacy, but they never realize. I have heard cases where parents expect that the wife and husband should sit out till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and spend time with them watching TV and stuff like that. But they need to realize that for a happy, stable, healthy family, it's important that husband and wives get their own time. If these are the two major wheels of any vehicle, then the balance needs to be established, and that balance is established with a healthy level of intimacy.
Got it. Like you already mentioned that how family members play an important role in this picture. So what do you think? Like there is a joint family, nuclear family in Indian families we often see. So how does it affect relationships?
That's an important perspective, especially in Indian context. There are two
Mm,
kinds of extroverts, introverts, and yeah, the middle ones, ambivert. But let's stick
right.
to two categories: extroverts and introverts. Extroverts are those who have high level of social sensitivity. They always give importance to everyone else except them and their closed ones. So extroverts are the ones who are fit for a joint family environment. If
Mhm.
introverts are forcefully put into that system, then nothing goes happy. Ultimately, they end up separate. If the same people are in a joint family setup, the extroverts, then they understand that it's okay to prioritize their in-laws first, or maybe the other people, relative first, friends first, and they happily and easily sacrifice their intimacy needs. If they are happily and easily sacrificed, then it's fine, because social intimacy is also a thing. So maybe they have more social intimacy in them and they feel intimate despite being with multiple people. But if introverts are put into that environment, they're not going to survive. So if introverts get a chance to stay in a nuclear family, then things are more balanced and happy. So it depends on the kind of person about whom we're talking of. So it's better that introverts and extroverts don't marry each other. I mean, even if they marry, they can manage if they understand their needs. But
Mhm.
things get easier when you marry similar people. And the suitable environment defines your happiness.
But mostly what I have seen that like uh like couples are like a pole, right? Different poles. So one is extrovert, one is introvert. That's what I have seen in the society.
All right. I would like to shed some light on this. Personally, I'm an introvert. My husband is also introvert.
Okay.
Now, poles is something, yeah, opposites attract. Yes, but
Yes.
not always in terms of introversion and extroversion. Now, when we see any two people, one person is going to score more in certain aspects and the other person is going to score less on certain aspects. So they appear to be poles, but their cores need to be similar. Their
Hmm.
values and belief systems need to be similar. Now, what is a value? One person may value their closed ones. Okay, the other person may prefer valuing the social connections they have over their closed ones. So when two people marry, introversion extroversion is also something to do with the way we are expressive. So let's
Right.
keep it aside for now. But in simple words, if they have similar values, things work.
Got
If
it.
nuclear family is something both the people value, then even if one person may be a bit extrovert, it works. Then the person will say, no, no, at core, even I need some space. So maybe my partner is more introvert. So it's okay. So it's okay. Let me adjust as per them. And if it is the other way around, if both value social connections, then they'll say, "ठीक है यार, चलता है, let's have some friends this weekend." Doesn't matter. Our intimacy is not that important. Even other things are important. So it depends from person to person. And yes, as you say, one is going to be silent, one is going to be talkative. Yeah, somebody has to listen and somebody needs to talk, right? But again, that's
Mhm.
relative. Two poles, meaning if you consider the spectrum of the entire population, then those two poles are not going to work. But randomly you pick up two people, then some one person is going to have a higher score on something and the other person is going to have lesser. So that can't be considered as two poles. These are
Got
complementary
it.
personalities, what you're talking about.
Like they're complementing and aligned with the same values, same value
Yeah,
system.
complementary personalities with complementary skills, however, carrying the same values and belief systems.
Got it. So, Chitkala, how do a relationship get toxic, and what are the red flags if you want to mention any?
Yeah, sure. Toxicity is a very relative word. I personally don't see things in black and white.
Okay.
So, general toxic behaviors could be being aggressive, abusive, self centered, egoist, narcissist, lots of things would come up. This is one side of the story. But even people who are possessive, who have low self esteem, who are clingy, who need attention all the time can get toxic. When two people come together, one is always a person who is stronger than the other, as we talked about, the two poles part you said.
Right.
So, when one person is stronger than the other, then the power play begins. Who will listen to who? And power play comes in animals also. It's a very, very inherent part of human behavior, animal behavior, just anybody's behavior. Two people come together and they start holding grudges, holding ego. They start expressing their anger, their hurt in different ways. One person may aggressively speak out, whereas the other person may prefer manipulation, prefer silent treatment, may altogetherly lie, resort to extramarital affairs just because their partner is not listening to them or giving them attention, giving them love. So one person might be abusive, the other person may use tactics like this. So all of these can be considered as red flags in relationships. It could be couple relationships, it could be family members. Simple thing. Let's talk about parental and adult child relationship. Pretty common with people of our age. When kids grow up, when they achieve something, parents have that ego that I'm better, I've always been better. How can my child challenge me in certain aspects? They start controlling. They don't like that their children have become independent because that gives them less power, that gives them less control. So they get toxic, they get upset, and that upsetness is expressed in a way that clips off their child's wings. That's with respect to parents. Now, for example, if we talk about a family, joint family setup, with common typical mother-in-law, daughter-in-law issues. When a woman enters a new family, the stake of other family members is challenged. They start fearing, oh my God, now this woman is probably going to rule the house, or maybe our son is going to, start listening to her, and he won't listen to all the insecurities that come that way. It could be the other way around also. A daughter-in-law who comes into a new house wants to establish power. So she starts influencing her husband in such a way that the importance or the rights of in-laws get challenged. Let's not see things in one way. Let's see things from both the perspectives. So then there's that's a place where politics begin. So when politics begins, that time people try manipulation, people try holding information, they try to use lies against the other members, thus creating unrest. So all these behaviors can be considered as red flags. Ultimately, if we try to find the crux, any form of relationship that displays unhealthy power play can be considered toxic, because ultimately it's about power. When people accept that yes, we are equal, there's no power play, it's absolute democracy. Let's decide that we have equal stake, then we can come down to some healthy conclusion. So I think I have summarized most of this.
Right. So it's all about power play.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Thank you so much, Chitkala, for sharing all those information, all the knowledge, all the experience with all of us, like with me, with our audience. And I would like to wish you all the best for your future. You're doing a great job. Keep doing it.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here and have a wonderful conversation with you.
Same here, Chitkala. And I would like to thank our audience as well. Thank you for being here with us. I hope you have got a lot of insights from this episode, a lot of what to do, what not to do in relationships from this episode. If you like our conversation, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to follow Braino Script in other social media platforms as well. I would like to thank Chitkala once again for being here and sharing so much knowledge with us. And if you have any suggestions for us, please let us know in the comment box down below. Thank you so much for being here. See you again in the next episode. Till then, bye bye.